I thought of conducting this first class like that. A revision for others and introduction for newcomers.
Yes.
Okay. So one very important thing what I want to share with you all is Vedas is not, or Vedas are not just the property belonging to Indians, even that to Brahmin caste, even that to menfolk. It's not so. Veda means knowledge, and it is open for all, irrespective of caste, creed, nationality, race, gender. It's a very, very important thing that we have to bear in. Anybody who wants to study Vedas is welcome. There are no discriminations whatsoever to study Vedas. It's open for all. It's not my words. In the Veda itself, that is Yajurveda, 26th chapter, 2nd mantra, that proclaims it very clearly that Imam Vacham Kalyanim Avadani Janebhyaha. These words of welfare are for Janebhyaha, means for all people. So that itself declares very clearly, categorically, that the words of Veda are for all. So saying that it's only for this group, it's only for this caste, it's only for this nationality, is totally anti-Vedic. Because Vedas themselves are very clear that it is for all. Then what is it that we have got in the Vedas? What are the contents of the Vedas? That's also very simple. The contents of the Veda are very, very relevant to one's day-to-day life. And it helps us to understand life better, to lead life better, and to improve the quality of life that we are leading. That is finally the sum of, or the essence of, the Vedic study. So anybody who is interested in living a better life, anybody who is interested in improving the quality of life that they are leading, yes, Vedas are for them. Anywhere, anytime. Now the contents of these Vedas, of course, they are very much relevant to day-to-day life. In addition to it, it has got some special features which you don't find in any other, if you call it as a scriptures, you don't find it in any other scripture. So what is that? Number one, the contents of the Veda are relevant to all people. Number one, we call it as Sarvajanika. Sarvajanika means it is relevant to all people. Then number two, we say it is relevant at all times. It's beyond time. So whatever is said in the Vedas, it holds good thousands of years ago, it holds good now, and definitely it holds good for time to come. Now all these things, what I'm telling, are not to be believed. Once you start studying seriously the contents of the Vedas, yes, you can check all these things, and if it is true, you can take it. If it's not true, you can challenge it. That's how the Vedas are to be taught and learned. It holds good at all times. And it also holds good at all places. That's another one that we call it as Sarvadeshika, Sarvajanika, Sarvakalika, and Sarvadeshika. So these are wonderful, unique features of Veda. Because most of the other scriptures, what we see in the universe, they're all products of history. So they're all products of history. Yes, they are bound by time. Before that time, it was not there. And after that time, it is there. And what has come into existence at one point of time may at one point of time cease to exist also. But Vedas are not like that. It is there from time immemorial, and it continues for a very, 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 very long period. It is not bound by time. Then another very important feature of the Vedas, it always encourages a person to think, analyze, experiment, and experience, and then conclude. But other caste, ideas or creeds or schools of thought, they all start saying, you see, we have got so and so things, you have to believe them and proceed. So they place stress or emphasis on belief, whereas Vedas emphasize on thinking, analysis, experimentation, experience. If your experience says so, if your analysis and experimentation gives this result, take it. Otherwise, don't take it. Such a freedom is given, and it recognizes the intellectual capacity of a human being. Whereas other schools of thought, they don't do so. They just say, yes, you believe it, then we will talk to you. If you believe this, you belong to our caste. If you believe this, you belong to our religion. If you believe this, you belong to our school of thought. So it's all based on belief. If you question that very belief, yes, you are thrown out. That's what happens in most of the religions. And if you question the basic tenets which they want you to believe, yes, then you will be thrown out and will be called as anti-religious. So it has happened in many places, many times, and is also happening now also. Whereas the freedom of thought, freedom of experimentation, freedom of experience is the very crux of the Vedic literature, the crux of the Vedic thoughts. So this is very, very unique. Then, another very important thing is, we don't find any contradictions in these Vedas. In so many other scriptures, we find that there are contradictions. They speak about one thing in one place and totally the opposite in another place. The common thing what we find of this contradiction in most of the scriptures is they speak of love, they speak of mercy, they speak of compassion on one side. And on the other side they say, these animals you can eat, these animals are not holy for you to eat. Now it's a question of mercy and compassion on one side, and on the other side saying that you can eat these animals, these are holy, and you sacrifice it in the name of God and go ahead. So these are the basic contradiction what we find in so many scriptures. One I am telling. But in Vedas you don't find such contradiction anywhere. Not to be believed again, as I said. Study, find out, and if it is true, take it. If it's not true, don't take it. It's open for inspection, it's open for correction, it's open for experimentation. Then another very important thing is, usually any language, Vedas are in Vedic language. Many mistake that Vedas are in Sanskrit. Sanskrit and Vedic language are different. This you will know only when you go deep into the grammatical structure of Sanskrit and grammatical structure of the Vedas. Vedas are in Vedic language. So the structure of the language what we have got, in terms of the Vedic language, is so scientific and is so precise and flawless. That's what I was stressing. That is, the concept what I get is abstract, and this abstract concept has to be transferred to another mind, and there it has to be back in an abstract form. It's not directly possible. So whatever is there in my mind as an abstract thing has to be converted into something concrete, something visible, or something audible. So if I convert it into that form, then whatever I speak or whatever I write can be seen and heard by the other person. And once that person sees or hears that which is in concrete form, has to be reconverted or deciphered into an abstract thought. And that abstract thought has to be the same as that was in my mind, or vice versa. This is a very, very challenging process. And this challenging process has been ably tackled in the Vedic language. So every thought of mine has got several dimensions. So they start with one root, which they call it as dhatu. That is the total essence of the concept what I have got in my mind. And to that, so many other dimensions are added. Maybe the dimension of gender, maybe the dimension of case, maybe the dimension of time, maybe the dimension of number. There are so many such dimensions to the thought, which is abstract. So all these dimensions are added to this dhatu or the root in the form of letters which are prefixed or suffixed. Now these letters are not abstract. They are visible, they are audible. So once we add them all, maybe prior to, maybe after the dhatu, finally a word form is derived. A word form is constructed. Now this final word form that is constructed or derived is written or uttered. Most of the time it is uttered with reference to the Vedas. So once we utter it, the sound will be received by the other person. So once they listen to the word, they again work back as to what are the components that are in that word, prior to and after, and what is the basic root, and they work back and finally get into that abstract state. So this is a wonderful thing that is done. And if this whole process is understood very well, then there will not be any communication gap, and the clarity of communication is achieved. Now this is a wonderful thing what I have got with reference to Vedic language. So to achieve this, for this Vedic language, they have got several what we call as Vedangas, branches of knowledge which support this whole process. Now these branches are called as Shiksha, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, Jyotisha, Kalpa. They are 6 in number. Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chandas, Nirukta, Jyotisha and Kalpa. Now each has got its own role to play in protecting, in communicating precisely the abstract thing to the other's mind. So Shiksha is all about phonetics. That is the voice modulations. So if the voice modulation is in one way, the meaning is one. If the voice modulation is different, the meaning is different. Then we have got Vyakarana, grammar. That's what I was telling you. Then we have got what is known as Chandas. Chandas is nothing but prosody or metric signs. Then we have got Nirukta. Nirukta, you can understand it as the technique of understanding the meaning of the words. You can call it as maybe in a limited sense the dictionary, a Vedic dictionary or Vedic thesaurus. Then we have got Jyotisha. Please don't mistake Jyotisha as astrology. Vedas never speak of astrology, it speaks of mathematics and astronomy. So this Jyotisha is mathematical calculations and the astronomical information. So that speaks about Jyotisha. And finally Kalpa. Kalpa is the application. We've got so many things in the Veda mantras, and whatever we understand has to be applied in life, and how it has to be applied and what's the benefit of it, etc., etc. They are all discussed under Kalpa. So whatever we understand in Veda has to be practical. It's not just theoretical. It is practical and can always be implemented in our day-to-day life. So finally, with the help of these 6 Vedangas, the 6 branches of Vedas, yes, it's possible for us to precisely say the meaning of this particular word is this and this only. That is, we are not allowed to exaggerate, we are not allowed to misinterpret the meaning of any Vedic word, because they are bound by these 6 Vedangas. That's a very, very important thing. Of course, in future when we discuss about the meaning of the words of the Veda mantras, yes, how these things are applied, we'll be able to see and experience. Now, when we are to understand the meaning of a Veda mantra or any Vedic word, it has to be in this method only. That is, we call it as the Vedanga method, or to be precise, we also call it as Arsheya method. Arsheya means the method given to us by the rishis, the seers, those who have realized the truth. So they have given us one infallible method to understand the Vedas and the Veda mantras and the Vedic words. And this is what exactly we have to follow so that we will not be misguided or misled. Now this is a very, very important. Now what has happened really is, the number of people who are interested in Vedas itself are very less. Because they are not informed that we have got one beautiful guideline for whole life, for everyone, which holds good at all times, at all places, for all people. That information itself is missing. So people who are interested in Vedas itself, they are very less. Among them, most of them, they chant the Veda mantras and never bother about the meaning, what the Veda mantras convey. That's another problem. And even those who study and discuss about the meaning, they live out this Vedanga method and do it in their own way. And there will be a lot of contradictions between their own interpretations. If one person interprets in one way, the other person interprets in the other way. They themselves will be totally different while interpreting. But when we follow this Vedanga method or the Arshe Krama, all of us have to understand the mantra in the same way, and all of us will be able to understand the Veda mantra in the same way without any deviations. Now, this is a very, very important method that we have to bear in mind. And only when we understand a Veda mantra in this method, yes, we get it to its sublime meaning, and it becomes very, very useful and applicable to our day-to-day life. So, whenever we are coming across a Vedic word, we first find out the root of it, and from the root, how the word has been derived and what is the final meaning. Then, another very important feature of the Vedas are, they are 100% logical and scientific. So when I say scientific, please don't go by the usual understanding of science. They say physics is science, chemistry is science, biology is science, and you speak of geography, it is arts, and you speak of commerce, we say it is totally a different subject. But all subjects which are scientific means all subjects which are very logical and go by this cause and effect relationship. If you find a cause and effect relationship between two things, it is science, whatever it be. In simple terms. In Vedic language, we call it as Vijnana. Jnana is knowledge. Vijnana is a specialized knowledge about any subject, is science, is Vijnana. So with this broad connotation of the word Vijnana, we should be able to understand or evaluate or experience what is there in the Vedas. It is 100% Vijnanic, it is 100% scientific, and it is 100% logical. You don't find any logical fallacy in any of the things that we study under the Vedas. It's very, very logical, very, very scientific, and it answers beautifully all our doubts and clears all our misgivings. So that's very, very important to understand. Then, the Vedas, I told you they don't have any contradiction as we find in any other scriptures. On the other hand, the Veda mantras are complementary. That is another feature of it. They are not contradictory, but complementary. Say you want to study a mantra in Rig Veda, then you need the help of a mantra from Yajur Veda or Atharva Veda, with the help of which you'll be able to understand the mantra from Rig Veda better. So they're all complementary. The same way, if I want to understand a mantra in Atharva Veda, I need the support and help of a mantra which is complementary in maybe Yajur Veda, Sama Veda or Rig Veda. So they are all interrelated, and it is one mass of knowledge. For our purpose, for our comprehension, because it is so big, we are studying them under four heads: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva. This is for our convenience. But all the four, it is one mass of knowledge. So these are some basic things about the Vedas. And these features, you don't find it in any other source of knowledge available on the earth. A big process we have already overcome. That is, we have studied hundreds of dhatus or the roots, and how the words are derived, what types of words are derived, nouns, verbs, adjectives and other things, all that we have discussed earlier. So I request the newcomers to go back to those audio records or video records, whatever is available. Maybe with Shanti Tantriji and Vivekji also has done something.
Yes.
So please go through it once at your leisure. So please go through them. And with this introduction, what I have given, you will be able to derive so many things out of them. So that will be a very good background for future discussions and future classes and future understandings. Now, what exactly we have to understand in these Vedas? A few things. These are all about the Veda, and what is there in Veda I am trying to introduce in the beginning. The subject matter of the Veda, it is about clearing 3 ignorances. We are ignorant about 3 things. And because of our ignorance in these 3 things, lot of problems, confusions are happening in our day-to-day life. Now the 3 ignorances are, number 1, ignorance about God. We have got lot of questions on God. Is there something called God? Then what is its name? Is it Allah? Is it Jesus? Or is it something else? Yes, we have got our own questions. Does a thing like that really exist? If it exists, what is its role to play? And what is the relationship between us and this God? And what are the duties of God? Or is God having any form or not? Is God male or female? There are so many such questions. Is it one God or is it a multitude of gods? A lot of things are there to be discussed. I'm a male, I'm a female. That's how we feel. And I'm intelligent, I'm beautiful. Am I this body or am I something different from this body? If I'm different from this body, how I did come into this body? What made me to come into this body? What is the relationship between me and this body? And what's the purpose of my life? There are so many such questions to be answered. Once again, we are ignorant about all these questions and the answers to them. Whereas the Vedic study finally removes this ignorance and gives us a clear picture of who I am, what I am, why I am, where I am going, so many things. It answers all these questions precisely, logically. And they are not to be believed. You can analyze, think, experiment, and experience is always possible. Then we are ignorant about this whole physical world. In a modern science, we speak of the whole physical world made up of 108 plus elements. Whereas in the Vedic science, they speak of just 5 elements, Panchabhuta. That is the space, the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. These are the 5 elements they speak of, and they say the whole world is made up of these 5 elements. What are the proportion in which they have come together, and with what proportion, what are the properties they have got? There are so many such things. Are these material things live? Are they tangible? Are they intangible? Are they omnipresent or not? So many such questions are there. Now these questions are answered in the Vedic study. So the 3 ignorances, ignorance about God, ignorance about self, ignorance about the whole material world around us. All these ignorances are removed when we study the Vedas in depth. To a very, very great extent, yes, our ignorance will be removed. So this is the basic structure. Now once again, so ignorance about these things, these 3 things, and these 3 things only is the beginning of the whole Vedic science. And say there are 3 entities. That's why it starts with 3 entities. So the first entity, I'm coming the reverse way. The first entity is the Sat. That's a technical word, what we have got, Sat. Sat means that which exists, but is not aware of its existence. It's not conscious. It just exists. So we call them as inert. We call them as materialistic. That's the real life. What is around us, that is made up of these 5 elements. This we call it as Sat. Then another entity is there, which is known as satchit. Satchit means it exists and is aware of its existence. That we call it as satchit. It's also called as atma. It's also called as jivatma. We are different from the physical body. We have taken rest. We have taken shelter in this physical body. I am different from the physical body. Because once this satchit leaves this physical body, it's very clear that physical body is a dead and is a dead body, and it can neither act or react. So action reaction in this physical body is possible until this satchit is in it. Otherwise, all other things are intact except this satchit. It has gone out and we call it as a dead body, and it is totally inert and decaying. So this element or this entity, satchit, has taken shelter in this body, not only human form, of different forms, and this is the other entity. The physical structure, the body, the sense organs, and the mind, they are all inert. They all belong to Sat category. So in the Sat category, satchit has entered in, and we see life in it, we see activity in it, we see action, reaction in it. That's the second one, satchit. But the satchit lacks one more thing, that is the bliss, the ananda. Ananda is not its feature. If ananda were to be the feature of the second entity, it should have been blissful always, but it is not so. It experiences ups, it experiences downs, it experiences happiness, it experiences unhappiness, it experiences comfort, it experiences discomfort, so many things. So, ananda or bliss is not its nature, is not its quality. But we have all experienced ananda or bliss, maybe for a short period, maybe for a fraction of a minute or a second, we have experienced. So, its existence cannot be denied. Ananda exists, but it's not in me. It's not in the Sat, it's not in the Satchit. Then we infer a third entity called the Satchit Ananda, which exists, is aware of its existence, and also is bliss. Ananda Swarupa. So these are the three entities what we have got. One is Sat, another one is Satchit, third one is Satchidananda, that is Satchidananda. Satchidananda is again Atma, but it's not Jivatma, but it is Paramatma or Vishwachetana Shakti. It is a Vishwachetana Shakti and Jivatma, which is Satchit in form, and all other inert things, material things, they are all Sat in nature. Other than these three, you don't find the fourth entity in the universe. There are only three entities. And these three entities are not created by anyone. Satchidananda did not create Satchit or Sat. Satchit did not create Satchidananda or Sat. Sat did not create Satchit or Satchidananda. All the three just exist. These three entities just exist, and it has no beginning, it has no end. We call it as Anadi Ananta. It was there from time immemorial. It is there now, and it continues to be there for coming period, even if it is crores of years. It just exists. What exists will never perish. What exists will never perish. What doesn't exist will never come into existence. It's a scientific law. Matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. In the same way, if you extend it, these three entities which are there will never perish, will never get destroyed. And what is there continues to be there always. What is not there will never come into existence. The same law extended. So these are the three entities without beginning, without end. And understand this whole life is with reference to these three entities only. Now here, the Sat part is inert in nature. So there is no question of bliss or experience or experimentation as far as that material thing is concerned. It just exists, that's all. Somebody has to operate it, somebody has to make use of it, somebody has to use it. As it is inert and on its own will do nothing. It follows perfectly the law of inertia stated by Newton. That's number one. There is no question of bliss, there is no question of experience at all. Now coming to the second entity, satchit, yes, it has got experience, but it is not ananda. Its feature is not ananda. It experiences ups and downs and so many things. And the third one is ananda itself, and it has no problem whatsoever. Now all problems, all ups and downs is experienced only by the second entity, satchit. Now this satchit needs a lot of information, a lot of support for its existence and experiencing happiness or bliss. Now, this Sacchidaananda has created this universe, has given us guidance through the Vedas to the Satchit to lead a quality life and to experience peace, happiness and bliss. And to achieve it, it needs so many tools and paraphernalia, and they are in the form of Sat. So it has created this universe using this Sat, establishing so many things which are useful to Satchit, finally to reach a state of experiencing Ananda or the bliss. So this is a whole structure in a nutshell. So on this basis, lot of information, lot of guidance are given in the Vedas. And these we are studying one by one, slowly, understanding each word and how the word is derived in a nutshell with the roots and other things, and trying to understand the whole structure of a God, the Jivatmas, and finally the inert material world, and how they are interrelated. We are not to find Ananda in inert things. Sat cannot give us Ananda because it doesn't have. We cannot have Ananda on our own because that is not our quality or that's not our feature. If I want Ananda, the only source for it is Sacchidananda, and from Sacchidananda or communion with Sacchidananda can give me that Ananda for my experience. So this is a basic guideline what is given in the Vedas, and with the help of this we proceed further. I have just given a brief introduction of what all we had discussed so far, and of course there are many things which I am not able to say in this one single class. Gradually we will understand the basic things. Yes, for you, think about it and recapitulate whatever I had told earlier, listen to the earlier lectures, and of course if you have got any question, you are always welcome. You are always welcome, and to the best of my capacity, with the help of the Vedic knowledge what I have got, I shall try to answer your questions, which I have been doing, and I will continue to do it. We shall sit down and start understanding the Veda mantras or the pieces of Veda mantras, or maybe some dhatus and other things, some concepts that are there in the Vedas, and try to expand the horizon of our knowledge. Okay. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharma ji.
Thank you.